This is a unique setting where educators and clinicians alike can come together and learn not only from experts in pain care, but also from each other. I think there is an undervalued approach to knowing that we have so many people who have different lived experiences, either through teaching pain or treating pain, and then coming together as a group and sharing this stuff and working through in a guided format. You just don't have many opportunities like that.
Today we're talking about pain. Something almost every physical therapist deals with daily, but few truly master. Our guest today is Mark Shepard, Program Director of the Fellowship in Orthopedic Manual Physical Therapy at Bellin College, and someone who's made it his mission to change the way we approach pain in physical therapy. Mark's passionate about promoting and empowering modern pain education. And this February at CSM in Houston, he's leading charge with a pre-conference event known as Pain School. This groundbreaking course aims to close the gap between modern evidence-based treatments for pain and the clinicians and faculty responsible for delivering care and information. Today, Mark joins us to talk about why pain education is so critical and what we can expect from Pain School and how this event could reshape the way we teach and treat pain in our profession. This is Orthostatic from APTA Orthopedics. Mark, welcome to the podcast. Appreciate your time.
I'm happy to be here.
Well, we're talking about a topic that I feel like when I was in PT school, that's almost 10 years ago, was just starting to sort of gain traction. And for context, it was like 2014, 15, 16. Yeah. And I've been around long enough. I can see like trends come and go. Yeah. But I feel like the understanding pain trend hasn't faded. It's still something people are like, oh, I need to be paying attention to this. And this is so vast and so large where it's not a weekend course that you're just going to understand everything, but it is something you definitely need to know. How close did I get to what you think?
Yeah, you're dialed in on it, man. And, it's funny because pain's one of those things that is just, it's been around since forever and it's never going away. So, right. The challenges are that the ways we address it, right, are so vast and variable, and some are evidence-based and some aren't. And, when people are in pain, they will do anything, pay anything to come get somebody to remotely try to get them to feel better. So yeah. It's one of those things that just demands attention, both as a person and as a therapist.
All right. So what's the biggest gap in how physical therapists currently approach pain management? And this might be like a hard question to answer because, of course, it's going to be varied across the profession. But how does Pain School, which we're talking about, it's going to be a pre-conference course at CSM Houston. Hopefully we don't get any snow in Houston, but you never know. We've got snow in San Diego a few years ago. So Pain School is a pre-con course happening for people who haven't done a pre-con. That is the con before the con before the conference. Yeah. How does Pain School aim to close that gap?
Yeah, so we really, as a group, I'm together. It's not just me. I'm part of a group. So there'll be a number of pain experts there, but we'll have Kathleen Sluka, who is a big pain researcher that many people may be familiar with. She's kind of our keynote presenter. And so when we got to talking about this actually dates back to several years ago, where a group of us got together and we said, you know what, in DPT education, it's the Wild West of pain. We get some people who are still getting the gate control theory of pain. That's the be all end all, of me too, the be all end all of what the pain mechanisms are. And then we have some people who are getting great information and, and everything in between. And so we looked and we said, well, there's international guidelines that are out there and they've been floating out there for a number of years, but there's really nothing that's been taken from the international guidelines and said, what can we do in the US? And so we came together and we put together something known as a pain education manual. We call it the PEM for short. It's a free resource that has been distributed through AOPT's website. And you can find it there through the Pain SIG. And we hope it's something that is digestible for educators. And then it laid out 8 dimensions that we feel are really important for pain education. And so what we said is this was step 1, right? Like education alone doesn't change behaviors. And It's a resource out there to hopefully point people in the direction, but our intention was never to stop there. And that's where this idea of a pain school came, to really address some of the gaps in education, to say, here's all the variability, what's out there. Here's the resource from a written standpoint. Now we need to go out to the masses in a way that we could hopefully promote what we're doing, but also try to gain some interest of what's out there. And to really answer your question about the gaps there, we wanted to start mainly on the education front, and then look at how do we blend both education within DPT, like curricula, I'm thinking academicians, but also how do we tie that with actual clinicians. So this pain school is meant for both of them. We've done one before that was just academicians. We now want to have both in the same room, coming together to discuss, to work off cases, to talk about how to improve education, both in the classroom and in the clinic.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in the clinic as well, it's just get those don't just write off those practitioners that might be out there for another 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Let's make sure
You're
they can
right.
understand that too.
Yeah.
The only thing better, I think, than pain school would have been House of Pain, but I'm a rock guy, so that just came to me right,
I should
right
have
there,
consulted with you.
right there. So walk me through the structure. If someone's like, okay, yeah, everything that Mark just said, yeah, I feel a little bit lacking, or I'd just like to be better because I can think of 3 people on my caseload right now that would benefit from this. So walk me through the structure of Pain School that's coming up at CSM 2025. I'll make sure to include that resource in the show notes as well that people can
Sure.
click.
Appreciate
But
it.
especially the breakouts, right?
Yeah.
Because people love to say, okay, that's great. I'm in receive mode. I think breakouts give me the chance to be in receive and question mode. And PTs, of course, we love that.
Yeah, and I love that question, because when we designed this, we didn't want it to be one of those things where you're passively listening all the time. And I don't know about you, but like some of my favorite experiences when you go to a course or a conference is the ability not only to be stimulated and empowered by a really good speaker, in this case Kathleen Sluka, but also to engage deeply with that person and other people. So the morning of, where it's a 1-day course, the morning is going to be completely dedicated to working with Kathleen Sluka. So basically, you're going to be in the room. She's going to open up with a keynote address that's about 30 minutes long. And it's kind of like her opening thing, challenging the minds of the people who are attending. And she's going to focus her talk on pain mechanisms. And so there's a lot of discussion over the years on pain mechanisms, whether things are nociceptive, nociplastic, neuropathic. So she'll be talking about what we've learned from the research, and then how do we as clinicians and faculty go forward. After that, we'll be doing kind of like panel discussions. So I will kind of be playing your role and
Yeah.
asking her in real time questions from the audience, and also some predetermined questions to get her perspective on things. So this is an opportunity for us to just get her perspective on things that are front of mind for people after her talk. And then we're going to have some small group discussions led by each of the other people involved in the course. And then we're going to come back together and then share some of the things we talked about and get Kathleen's input on all of that stuff. So it's a lot of this listening, challenging, questioning, working together in small groups, and having lots of discussion. We'll break for lunch midday. Then we come back in the afternoon. We'll have kind of 2 different tracks. If you're a faculty member, you're teaching mostly full time, you're going to be split up into a track. And then if you're primarily a clinician, you'll have another track. And the idea is, what we'll be doing is using cases that are persistent pain in nature. And then we'll be delivering those to each of the groups. And then there'll be similar type questions. But what we'll be doing is working through some of these things and bringing them together as a big group to say, hey, what did you all talk about in your groups? What did
Yeah.
you talk about?
Yeah.
And then we'll try to, as the people who are leading the course there, will really work on guiding some of the take homes to say, all right, here's the so what, like, what the hell does this all mean for me?
Yeah.
And how does this relate back to my program or my clinic or me as a CI? So I'm pretty stoked on it. Like, for me, it's kind of a great opportunity just to listen to what people say. So it's just as much of an event session as it is a decision-making session, and something that we feel strongly will empower people to go into the clinic right after CSM and apply something like right away.
Yeah. Sounds like you thought about it from a movement perspective, and movement by mean like, the content, right? So in receive mode, in give and take mode, and then even more in give and take mode. And it's unique how you said, okay, these are our two audiences. We can give them all this information is going to relate to both, but now we need to break them up, and then we get to bring them back together. It
Yeah.
sounds like you understand the groups that are hopefully going to be there. Let's
Hopefully. Yeah.
let's talk about some misconceptions. Like,
Yeah.
what are the things, if you had a soapbox, what are some of the most common misconceptions PT specifically have about pain that when they walk out of pain school, they're gonna understand completely?
Yeah, I think number one is, this pain mechanistic talk or pain phenotypes is really not relevant to what I do in clinical practice. And so I think you'll have a better grasp of the so what for me in clinical practice, but also the so what for how to teach this in a way that makes sense for students. So I think
Sure.
that's number one. Number two, I think is understanding. We talk a lot as a group when we were planning this idea about understanding the psychosocial aspects of pain. We talk about that all the time. Yet, what I find in my role in fellowship training and even in DPT and just mentoring clinicians is that we really struggle with having a process of actually doing it.
Right.
And it's one thing to know it. Like, I think most PTs out there understand it like right away, right? Like they understand how to do it. It's just hard to really understand. Okay, well, this person sounds anxious. They sound like they have catastrophizing thoughts. Now, like, how do I measure it? How do I address that? And then from a faculty member, it's like, how do I teach this in a way that makes sense, that can be like easy, reproducible, and doesn't overload your staff and and the faculty and other courses. So, I'm a big simplistic person. And so we really hope that people will leave with some ideas about that as well. Hey, Jimmy, you're muted.
Yeah. Knowing something is great. Even if you know it, if you don't unmute your microphone, no one else can find out about it, as I just did there. But communicating this, right? So knowing this is a PT. So how can better communication with patients about their pain significantly improve treatment outcomes? And what strategies in terms of communications, this is where I get excited, will be taught at pain school to help enhance those skills? Because a lot of times we do stop. We say, hey, I remember in PT school, patient education. We never covered how. And then you get out there and a patient stares you in the eyes and you go deer in headlights.
Oh my gosh. And dude, I can't tell you how many times I've had the deer in the headlights look when someone's like, no, my pain is because I have a disc squirting out into my, into my nerve root. And that's when you're going to back down. When someone has a firmly held belief, understanding when to push the narratives there. And then I know you've interviewed Adrian Lowe a million
Yep.
times.
Yep.
And Adrian will be the first person to tell you education alone will not reduce pain.
Right.
Education with good, modern, evidence based pain neuroscience, along with, activity, cognitive functional therapy, graded exposure, manual therapy, other exercise, that's where the magic happens. So I think part of it is understanding that you're not just talking to them, number one, you're actually doing something with it. But also, how do you meet the person where they are? How do you understand how their belief system helps you cater how you're going to educate them? Because somebody who thinks with all of their bones that they have something going on that is damaging inside of them, you're not going to change their beliefs in one session. It's
Right.
going to take multiple sessions. And David Butler in his graded motor imagery book has a great analogy on belief systems. And he says beliefs can be like a grain of sand, a sandcastle, or sandstone. And in my mind, that's how I look at patients sometimes. I'm like, is this person's belief a grain of sand where I can just wash my wave of information and it's going to take that grain of sand, it's going to wash it right away, right? Like I can change their beliefs. Oh, wow. I thought I had a bulging disc or something that was causing my neck pain. What you just said sounds sweet. I'm ready to go. Are you following me out to the gym? Right? Like those are the home run cases. Those are the ones we all want. Sandcastles, they're the ones who take a couple of waves of information, right? You still have the mound there after that wave comes through, but they'll eventually change after some. The challenging ones are the sandstone. Eventually, that wave will wither down that sandstone, but you need to consistently wash information over and over again to really whittle it down. And if you come in like a hurricane, you're going to blast that sandstone, but it's going to be a mess. There's
Right.
going to be stuff everywhere, right? So
Right.
understanding how to phrase your communication based off of a sound assessment, building that therapeutic alliance, all that stuff makes a big difference, I think. And I think the evidence is showing this in outcomes.
If you were to explain to someone who's still listening to this episode, right? They're still paying attention. What makes this course essential for physical therapists who want to improve their approach to pain management?
I think this is a unique setting where educators and clinicians alike can
Yeah.
come together and learn not only from experts in pain care, but also from each other. I think there is an undervalued approach to knowing that we have so many people who have different lived experiences, either through teaching pain or treating pain, and then coming together as a group and sharing this stuff and working through in a guided format. You just don't have many opportunities like that. And
Right.
so with CSM being such a big component of where people are coming through, and then Houston has a lot of local PTs there that I'm sure would love to come and be part of it. To me, that's just a really unique opportunity just to be able to discuss. You literally just show up. It's not, you just show up being willing to talk and learn. You're probably going to walk away from it with a lot of just hopefully light bulb moments and things you can apply right when you get back into the clinic or classroom.
Pain School is going on at CSM 2025, which is Wednesday, February 12th. You can find the information about that pre-con at APTA's CSM website. We'll provide the link in the show notes as well. On my podcast, we call it the parting shot, but here we call it words of wisdom. It's a way to make it a little
It's,
bit more APT orthopedic. What's words of wisdom? What's one idea or concept or sentiment you want to leave with the audience as we wrap up?
I would say don't be afraid to fail. I was always scared, that I would say the wrong thing, maybe not deliver something the right way or flare
Right.
somebody up. But man, that held me back from even just trying. And, to me, the magic was trying it. If you're coming from a place of compassion and you're trying to help, the person will understand that. I'm never perfect. I've flared people up. I've had people get mad at me or think that I'm telling them it's all in their head, right? But you know what? I've learned from those, and if you reflect on those moments and you just tweak things here and there, every time you're able to deliver that. And for me, I do it for pretty much everybody who comes in. I just dose it differently. But being willing and being vulnerable to failure is only a bad thing if you don't reflect on it and you don't allow it to guide you in the future. And that is awesome because you're the people you treat, the patients you see, they become your own course every day that you go to
Yeah.
work. And
Yeah.
so for me, it's don't be afraid to fail. Just try your best and refine as you go forward.
Pain School, CSM 2025 with Mark Shepard and others. Excited for this. I want to see where this goes. I think this is something that, where does pain fit? In what section? In what academy?
Right.
All, if not most, right? So
Right.
just we don't have to own it necessarily, right? All or nothing. You don't have to own it to be able to lean into it and not be afraid to fail with it.
Yeah, totally. And as I tell people, pain is not a silo. It affects every body system. And so if you're in neuro, if you're in acute care, if you're in home health, you are seeing pain. And so it is not just an orthopedic or musculoskeletal thing, as many people think. It is a whole body, it's a person, human thing. And so if you're out there listening for whatever reason and you're a neuro PT or acute care or home health, hey,
You too.
my arms are open to you all. Come and get it. We want it. We want all those experiences because we can learn from each other.
Mark Shepard, the principal of Pain School, coming to CSM 2025. Thanks, Mark.